Well, hey there. Welcome to the Paw Chronicles and More with Jim. Well, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to graft this. And I cut the top out of this tree, in about 10 minutes. I wanted to see if we get any heavy bleeding, and we're not. It's extremely dry right now. This right here is a persimmons. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a series of scion on the top of this. But I'm going to cut it down a little bit further. I'm looking for some place that's going to be friendly to me. Like right here, we have a knot. That ain't going to do me no good. I need to take it down below this knot. And we're going to cut this off. It's easier to cut high. I was above the tree tube. And now I'm below the level of the tree tube, which I'll put the tube back on here to protect it. And especially from deer rubbing on it. Deer would love to rub on that. Bear with me. Taking a minute, but we'll get there. Held on to that at the end so it wouldn't be so bad. There we go. Not too awful bad. Got a little bit of a slope. I got everything right here with me to work with. I'm going to take this razor blade and just clean it up a hair. That could have been more flat. That's actually pretty clean. I think I'm not going to worry about that. Put this back where it came from. I'm going to give it a sec or two. Watch it. This type of grafting right here, incidentally, is new to me. And I mean, I've done inlay, bark inlay, but these right here are going to be done just inlay. The bark inlay, if I lay the scion here, there's going to be a slit here, peel back, put my scion in, push it in. That's bark inlay. Inlay, I'm just going to cut one slit, open it up, put my scion in place. So I think what my best bet is to do is break out my knife, and the way this looked, it's looking like I'm going to put 4 on here. It's big enough for 4 of them. But I'm going to take my knife go directly across from it. Actually, I think I might be able to get it off doing it like this better. I want to get down to the wood, the phloem, or no, down to the xylem. Get past the phloem, get past the cambium. Now, got two straight across. I'm going to do this one right here. Got that one going across there. Take it down to the xylem, and I'm going to go straight across from it. There we go. Now, bring this a little closer to me. I hope you all bear with me here for a little bit. This is going to take a minute. We get in here into the box. I had already selected what variety I'm going to use. We're going to go with the Cardinal. It's a variety that came from Cliff, England. Incidentally, the reason why I'm going down this road is I was down at Cliff's property, and I seen a lot of his grafts on trees like this, and I was really intrigued with what I saw. And right here I have a utility knife, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to create the cut that I need. Well, come on, Jim. The buds are spaced out pretty good. I'm going to do a wedge cut, and I want to cut this to where the bud is coming out towards me. And that's what I want. I want that bud to come out towards me. I don't want it to cross into the tree. So, try to get it long and straight. There you have it, nice, long, and straight. You know, here we are, we're at the end of the last day of May. Cut that snib bit off. That's where it was wrapped up with parafilms, a little brown. Didn't like the looks of that. And what I like to do, right above that first bud, I like to come up here cut it off. Now this in here I'll stick in my pocket, and I'll grab me a little bit of a buddy tape. And then I'm just going to go ahead and wrap my scion while it's right here in my hand. And I only want one piece of parafilm across that bud. Whoop, whoop, whoop. When I come down here, I'm not going to worry so much about stretching that tape out. I'm going to stretch the tape out around the bud. And then I'm going to take my knife, the same knife I used to make the little cuts, and I'm going to open this bark up. I like to take the back side of that because it's blunt and I'm not cutting into the bark. I don't want to cut into the bark. And all I'm going to do is just open it up, and I'm going to slide this in its place. Whoops, bud facing outwards, mind you. There. Now, I like to use this knife whenever I'm doing my cuts because the blade is narrow this way. It gives me better control. Once again, I'm going to snip it right here because that's where the crushing took place. From where I cut it loose a minute ago. And then I'm going to come up here above the bud, cut it off, stick that in my pocket. And once again, break my other knife out. Oop, let me get my tape on here first before I get carried away. Bear with me, this is taking me a minute because I'm dealing with so much at the same time. Stretch out a hair. Come on, this don't get difficult here. All I'm done is just pulling back a little bit, opening up, creating an opening to fit my bud in there. And there it is. I'm not using the sharp end of the blade because I don't want to cut into the bark. I'm using this blunt end right here just to kind of lift that out a little bit. There's number 2. Now on to number 3. Got a little tiny bud there in my way. Get rid of it. looking at the bud once again. I'm going to come up through the back side. A little bit of a bad spot there, so let's go up a little bit further. See something here I don't like. Let's show that to you. See the black spot there? That's a blemish in there, and I'm gonna come up above that blemish. I don't like the looks of that. Get rid of it. We'll make this just a little bit longer. You get that good contact. And see, that's not bleeding. We're so dry right now, it's not even funny. There we go. Oh. Yep, gotta find the end. Just so I know where that end is. All right. Oh. Let's get this one here opened up. I have a concern about this slope, but you know, I ain't gonna worry about it right now. It'll be all right. You see how I opened that up? That opened up nicely. I don't want to get it all crazy with it. Let's get the bud in place. A little bit of, there you go. One more to go. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that off with this piece here. So, you set this to the side. I'm going to put this right back into the bag. I'm going to look at the other pieces of scion that I have to work with. This one here looks pretty good. The reason why I did that is I got room to hold on to this to get my cut, because when I'm down here and it's hard to control. So I'm looking on the back side behind the bud, I can get that longer cut whenever I have control back here. And that's the reason why I did that. Put that down, grab this once again. Take a hold of it. Excuse me. Keep it moving right along. Put that right back in the bag so I keep track of it. Get another piece of buddy tape. Stretch the tip of it, because I want the tip to come around that bud. Cover the top. Come over the bud, come under the bud. Get my knife. There we go. See how I opened that up, that knife? All the flaps happened on the right side. So, pull this out, and we're going to put the scion in there. There you go. Make sure they're all in line. I want the one side of that scion to be in line with this wound right here. So we got touching. And we do have touching. Now for the fun part. What I have here is a electric repair tape. Sometimes it gets a little bit kind of tricky for me to get it started. It's got a plastic backing on it. As you can see, pull that film off there. Get me a piece of it out. That should be long enough. Now, as you can see, it's not a sticky tape. It don't stick to itself. What I come to find is it's like a rubber, and when you go to stretch that, and once it grasps onto itself, it's friction pulling it, and it causes it to hold in place. And this stuff right here is some really good stuff. Mr. England turned me on to this stuff right here, told me about it, and I did my research and came across it. Get rid of some of this sawdust. It's like using a giant rubber band. Once it makes contact, I can run with it. And I'm stretching the garp out of that. I want that to be a tight fit. And man, this stuff, look how that stretches. It holds it right where I want it to hold. I was talking to a guy last night about this tape, and he said he uses this tape for leaky water lines until you can get to it and fix it. Look how that held tight. That held super tight. Now we got another thing that we're going to have to do, and this right here is another product. It's a tree wound product, wound sealing black balsam. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to squirt some on the middle. I don't want to disrupt the scion. There. Put the lid back on there. Oop, wrong knife. I got a putty knife. I used to do oil painting, and there's a little knife there I use to mix my oil paints. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it and cover up the whole top. You know, one of the biggest things, I guess, that I was asked is the bleeding. How much is it bleeding when you cut it? And this ain't really bleeding at all. Like I said, I cut it off probably 5-10 minutes before I started this little project, and it's not bleeding at all. It's damp, but it ain't pushing sap out. And I think a lot of it's got to do with the fact that it's so dry outside. Anything exposed, I'm covering up with this stuff. Anything. Even to the back side of that scion that's exposed, where I did my wedge cuts, because I didn't shove it all the way down inside there. Anything. Some of you are thinking, man, he's being awful meticulous. Well, you know, I put work in here. I worked this property over. When I first moved out here, you couldn't walk through here. You see all the trees that I've planted over the years, and it's looking like everything's coming together okay, but hey. And where I made the slit, put a little bit in there also. Matter of fact, I want it all covered up. I want it to work. I don't want this to be a failure. I want this to be a project that I can say, yes, I did that. To my kids and my grandkids one day. Okay, we got that done. And see, I ain't finished yet because I got a lot more to go. And like I said, I hope you're bearing with me on this. We'll wipe this off. Because that'll dry on there and I'll have a hard time getting it off there. Drop that in the crate. And this is the reason why I said I'm not done yet. Okay. Put that right there. There's some fiberglass rods right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get these situated. Get them in place. Now to move them where I need them. And where I'm placing these in my mind is on the same side of the cut that took place right beside the scion. And I positioned them around and moved them around without disturbing that scion as much as possible. Because the scion's in place. I want it to stay in place. Now, I can wrap it all up. Wow. Tell you what. Get that up in a minute. Can't believe that just happened. I want to make sure that these stay in place. I don't want them falling out. Go up underneath this rod right here. Pull on that. Hold her in place. There. I don't think that's going anywhere. Oop, a little bit over. Take my scissors, cut that piece off, drop that in the box, put my scissors back, and then I'm going to take the tape, because the tape's so wide, I'm going to fold it in half, fold it in half once again, and once again. Got it all folded in half. Take my little snips, now each one of these little scions here is going to be attached to the rod up here, and the reasoning behind that is to stabilize that scion best I can, because from my understanding, when it takes off, we're going to have some weakness going on. Well, that didn't work, that broke. Let's cut another piece. That's okay. There, that'll do it for now. As the scion begins to push and give growth, I'll come in here and I'll restabilize where I have something to work with. But this is something that I wanted to do. I had out of 27 persimmons out here, only 6 of them was able to be identified as female. The rest of them were male. And I want more productivity out of the persimmons than that. But this is a way that I had talked with Cliff, and he said, you got to stabilize that. What really nice is we're utilizing fiberglass rods, so I ain't got to worry about them rotting away. I ain't got to worry about it being metal and rusting, and plus it gives something for birds to perch on, and it helps to stabilize the scion wood, and that's what I'm after. I got some more to do. This is something I wanted to share with you. This is the more part to Paw Paw Chronicles and More with Jim. Well, anyways, I hope you were patient, and I hope you liked what you saw. If you like what you see, subscribe. Don't forget to click on that bell for any notifications. Any comments or questions that you may have, I welcome. You all have a God bless day.